Please, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, let's welcome to the show. This is Senator Rick Scott. Senator, how are you, sir?
Good morning. Thank you for what you're doing to help people that got impacted by this horrible hurricane.
Yeah.
There's a lot of families. I've been up and down the coast. Unbelievable the amount of water that came in.
Where were you for Hurricane Andrew?
So on Wednesday I went from Destin down along the coast, and I think I stayed the night in Ocala. Then on Thursday I was in Pasco, in I think Levy. So I think I stayed Thursday night in Ocala.
Well, I'm sorry. I meant Hurricane Andrew, the one that was prior to this, was probably the biggest hurricane that we had. Yeah. I was wondering.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew in '92. I had hospitals in Miami. I had to evacuate 2 hospitals. When Ian hit, I was in DC and came down as soon as it hit. And then that was 2 years ago. And so this one I've traveled the state every day, and starting last Wednesday.
Yeah, the reason why I asked is because that was my first hurricane that I went through down here was Andrew. I was in Miami at the time when that hit, and then I hadn't seen devastation like that. I mean, we saw the one in Fort Myers and what it did there, but I hadn't really seen the places just get decimated like the beaches have here, and these poor people that have lost their entire homes. I fortunately haven't seen that. I'm sure you have traveling the whole state, but it hasn't been that bad for me since Andrew, and I still can't get over some of the damage that we've suffered down in the beach areas.
Like in '92 with Andrew, I had 500 employees without homes.
It's crazy.
But if you take Irma in 2017, if you go from Big Pine to Cudjoe Key, there's 9 foot of storm surge. If you had a 1-story house, everything that wasn't tied down came in and came out. I mean, debris everywhere.
Wow.
And then if you look at Michael in 18, if you were Mexico Beach, they picked up houses. Because they had over 10 foot of storm surge there. I mean, if you get 6 foot of storm surge, it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Have you been to Steenhatchee? Remember Roy's? Have you been to Roy's up in Steenhatchee? The whole building's gone.
Oh, that's insane.
And they got it's 7 foot of storm surge, a half a mile in. Punta Gorda, I was at yesterday. They had 2 feet of storm surge in the water in downtown, which is over a half a mile from their river.
Wow. That is.
But Pinellas is like all the Berry Islands of Pinellas, St. Pete Beach. I mean, I was out there with Sheriff Belterry. It was horrible. These people had never ever seen, especially all the 1-stories. Thank God for all these first responders who rescued all these people. Golly.
Yeah, I tell you what, as the leader of the state, you got to be one of the leaders. You got to be super proud of the first responders. I mean, these people who are going above and beyond to do their jobs. But also, I have to tell you, as somebody who is a senator or the governor, how you guys approach this. The state is so big, and to have to be responsible for each of these counties and each of these areas that are all affected horribly, but in different ways, that's got to be very tiring for you.
Because we want to help people, but here's the way it really works. First off, the most important person in a hurricane is you and your decision. Okay, are you going to get out of harm's way? Are you going to prepare your house or your business? So you're the most important person.
Yeah.
Then after that, it's our locals, it's our sheriff's department, police departments, all of our emergency responders. They keep people safe. And then the next is, what can the state do? The state has a great emergency management team, and we fund the local emergency management centers from the state dollars, not all of it, some of it's local dollars. And then the last is FEMA, SBA. So what FEMA does, they don't have first responders. Everybody acts like, well, where's FEMA? Well, FEMA doesn't have a whole bunch of employees. What they have is they contract, and here's what they primarily do. They primarily give you individual assistance if you're out of your house for, because you lost your house. SBA, they do interest-free loan. They have an interest-free loan program for homeowners and for businesses. Then the Department of Ag, which they're not doing a great job, in my opinion. Ever since in. But what they're supposed to do is help our farmers. They're not being very helpful, but that's what they're supposed to do. So I've been trying to get them to give us a block grant and let the State Department of Ag, which under Wilson Simpson, I know would do a great job of getting the federal dollars out. But that's how the response works. And FEMA only responds to what the governor requests. So if the governor doesn't ask for something, FEMA doesn't do it.
Right.
And then FEMA has limitations. So they help pay for things like debris cleanup, sheltering, and stuff like that. Now you have to follow the rules. They pay for extra law enforcement. Not all of it, but they pay for this as a partner with the state and local government.
Okay. And do you think that
we're learning a lot as governor? I can tell you that. I didn't know anything about this before I became governor.
Do you think that we're going to these people who are depending on it are going to have a hard time with the insurance companies and collecting on the money that they're due now after the disaster?
Well, first off, they shouldn't. I know the CFO, Jimmy Petronas, what he typically does is he opens up insurance centers around the state where a homeowner can meet with the insurance company close to where they live. So he'll get the insurance companies to open up, and then the property insurance is a state issue. But Jimmy does a really good job of trying to get the insurance companies to be responsive. Now, if you the first person I would call Jimmy Petronas' office because he does a good job of this. But I've got 9 offices in the state. And I've got an office in D.C. So if you call one of our offices, whether it's a state or federal issue or local issue, we're going to try to help you. So we don't control property insurance. We do work, the flood insurance is a national program, so we do work on that. But we'll help you with any issue you're dealing with. I've got a great team of people all around the state, and so they're working their tail off right now. So, but the other part of it, which I think something you're doing, is there's a lot of not-for-profits that come down to Red Cross, the Salvation Army. I know Senator Jay Collins has got a not-for-profit that's feeding people right now, and there's others. There's a lot of Baptist groups that come and help. There's the Cajun Navy comes and helps rescue people. There's a lot of not-for-profits that I was at feeding Tampa Bay the other day.
Yep.
And my grandsons were also volunteering that day there. So they do an unbelievable job. When this happens, what's going to happen? You lost your power. Okay, that means all your freezer food's going to go bad. So they're there to help you, cover that cost that you didn't anticipate. So, but feeding Tampa Bay, Second Harvest, there's a lot of really good groups around the state that do a good job. Then they show up, show up when other people don't. I mean, the Red Cross will probably have 1,000 people from other states in the state. They'll help with sheltering. They'll help feeding people. They'll have they often have I haven't seen it this time, but they'll have a health clinic. They do all those types of things. It's really well. They do a good job. There's a lot of Salvation Army, Baptists. There's a lot of great groups. Samaritan's Purse. I mean, I probably shouldn't say one because there's so many of them.
There are so many. We're working with Metropolitan Ministries today, and we're trying to help collect funds for people in the Tampa Bay area and all these people. But one of the things I'm most amazed about is for years, anytime we've ever asked this audience to help us out, whether it be with donations or bidding on items, they've never let us down. They've been great. The people in this community have been wonderful. And when I lived in Miami, it was the same way when Hurricane Andrew hit. I know you're pressed for time, but a couple of quick things I want to ask you. One, did you see the aqua wall that they put up around the hospital here, the Tampa General Hospital?
I know. Isn't that impressive?
I mean, it's one thing you can learn from, these tragedies and what worked and what didn't, and that's certainly something that I think we'll use more in the future.
Here, Mike, I think this. So I live in Naples, so we've had 2 storm surges in 13 months, right? So not as bad as other parts of the state, but we've had it. So we got a lot of damage. So here's what's going to happen. All along the coast, what everybody's going to come up with is, okay, they're going to have their plan to make sure this doesn't happen to them again.
Yeah.
All right. So it might be sandbags. When I was at Anna Maria Island 2-3 days ago, this one lady showed me, they have this barrier. And she said it worked, except the water came from under the house somehow. But you'll figure it out. We're all going to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
And I think insurance companies, if they're smart, they're going to give people a break if they figured out something to prevent the damage. And we're all going to be creative because it starts with us.
Yeah.
But the insurance companies have got to do their job. And if they're not doing it, I'll be glad to call them. It's really a state issue, but I have no problem calling. I bugged insurance companies the whole time I was governor to make sure that they did the right thing, and I'll be glad to continue to do it as a senator.
Well, we appreciate it, and we're all going to stick together, and we're all going to get through this, and we're all going to be prepared better for the next one. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day, and thanks for all the work you've done traveling the state, helping people out, and we're here if you ever need anything.
Well, thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And my heart goes out to everybody impacted, especially people lost their loved ones.
Thank you, Senator. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. There you go. Senator Rick Scott.